Good morning, and thank you for joining us for SBB Live. I am your host and the publisher of Seniors Blue Book, Amanda Barton. Very excited today to bring on one of my valued partners with Hawley-Holt Senior Advisors, Miss Suzy Hawley herself. How are you this morning, Suzy?
I'm just fine, Amanda. How about you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for asking. Now, I love listening to your story about how you got the idea and inspiration for this business that you're in. Can you tell me a little bit about what Hawley-Holt Senior Advisors is and how you and your friend came up with this idea?
Well, Margaret actually was working in New York. We, as many of you know, were college roommates. And when she came to Naples about 7 years ago, she realized that she needed to find something to do other than just putting her spoons all in the same direction in the drawer. And she went on and she became a chairperson for SCORE. And then she, of course, practically burned herself out. So when she finished, took a little time off, again, she was lining up those spoons. And she said to me one day, I was in the doctor's office yesterday and I discovered that there is a real need for people helping seniors finding the right living community, senior living community. And Margaret herself had actually had a lot of experience with that, with both an aunt and her mother. And then she and her husband, who's somewhat older than she, had been looking at a community. And after they'd made 4 or 5 trips, almost signed on the dotted line, she discovered that there was a second person fee. Now, she realized that if that happened to her, it could very easily happen to many other people. So we decided that we were going to do this together, and it turned into a fabulous opportunity. Helping the community, helping seniors was something that they really needed help with. We went around for the first 9 months of our partnership and looked at every single senior community in Naples and many in Lee County. And since, of course, as they open, we also go into the others. And I mean, we try to figure out everything about them, about their staffing, about their facility itself, about the kitchen and the food, and all of the things that they expect from their residents and what the residents can expect from them. Then when we get a call from someone who's looking, we put together all the information we have in our database, which is very large, and come up with something that can approximate what the senior resident is looking for in a community.
Now, your services, they're no charge to the person that's looking. So I know a question that a lot of times you get asked when we do these presentations live is, how do you get paid? Do you want to just conquer that question quickly for us?
Sure, and that's the first thing that everyone wants to know.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
honestly, it's very interesting because sometimes we're referred to other people,
Mm-hmm.
and when they call, I realize that their first thing that they say is, how much do you charge? And we say, if we don't charge the potential customer, we actually get paid by the community if the person we've taken to the community chooses that community. We get paid a percentage of the first month's lease.
Right. So the takeaway there is that this service can help consolidate your search, your time, and everything, and it doesn't cost you anything. I think
Oh,
that's
absolutely. Yeah.
the main takeaway. And also the fact that you, as a representative out there in the community, know what the starting price ranges are, what the floor plans are like. And when you and Margaret go in and meet with these folks, you're looking at their belongings. Do you kind of help them determine what they can and can't take with them when they move into their community?
We try to talk with them about all of those kinds of things. We really have to determine right away what size they're looking for, and then realistically, what can they really afford. Now, we don't really look at their financials. We just have to trust what they tell us, because we don't want them to be disappointed if they go to a place and suddenly find out this is way beyond their means. And we really don't want to take the time of the salespeople at the communities either, because that takes time away from from potential residents that they really will have placing here.
No, and
So,
I think it's important for everyone to know what their expectations are.
right, right.
It's just, it's such an amazing service that I think a lot of seniors don't realize are available for them, that you do the legwork.
We do.
I guarantee you that there's some family dynamics as well that you are able to keep people from, I would say, getting into arguments for.
We have wonderful stories with almost everyone, and very different stories, very unusual things happening. I mean, we set up like the transportation of people. We're doing it next week with somebody coming from Wisconsin. Um, we help people go to wonderful companies where they can lease furniture if they really don't want to bring their furniture into the
Sure.
place. They can
And
lease something
that
or
can be
just
common.
and the companies can go and set them up. But the thing is that now through Seniors Blue Book and Naples Interagency, we really have made so many connections with so many people in this business, helping seniors, and we all work very nicely together. So we go to them for help.
Yeah, thank you for that plug. I appreciate it. Remember, our viewers that are watching today, a lot of them don't know the story about you and Margaret being college roommates. So I do want you to touch on that. Tell me about your partner and your relationship and how you came to this conclusion.
Well, we were college roommates, and she tells a very funny story about how we first met. And in those days, I mean, we were 18, and we went to a women's college, which neither of us can understand how we actually ended up at a women's college, but we did. And we were watching these, crazy things happen in colleges, and particularly, I think, in women's colleges, unusual things that don't happen in, men's or in co-ed schools. And there were odds and evens or something like that groups, and they had to run around with a pillow on the back of their shoulder and find things like a pig's ear and all these ridiculous things. And so I decided that this really wasn't something I wanted to engage in. And I went down on the fire escape and sat down. And all of a sudden, this girl came and sat down next to me. And she said to me, "Do you like this stuff?" And I said in no uncertain terms, "Heck no." And so that was the beginning of a very fast friendship. I mean, she was in my wedding. We just we've grown up together basically. She worked in New York for most of her years, and she was abroad and so forth and so on. And my husband was an Air Force officer, so we were traveling around and finally ended up in Naples. And she would come and visit me. And she tells this story. She says that one day I looked at her and said, "Why the heck don't you buy your own house?" And the next thing I knew, she did. We went looking for houses that day. And since then, she's really become a great lover of Naples. And we've had lots. I mean, we frankly seem to work very well together, even after all these years. And we do a nice balance, I think. And so we're loving what we're doing.
It's such a beautiful story. You have to really share that with everyone. I wanted to make sure that our viewers and listeners and readership, was able to experience that the way that I was the first time I sat down with you ladies. Truly has been a pleasure working with you and getting to know you. I know that you have a passion for what you do, and that's what makes it so unique and special in the Southwest Florida market. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show this morning and sharing all of your knowledge and your stories with us.
Well, thanks, Amanda. You've been a terrific help for us and encouraged us in the entire way. And we both appreciate that.
Always will.